All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to do a Conan trade paperback. I'm not sure if it's going to be an overview or review. It's the book of Thoth by Kurt Busiek, Wein, Kelley Jones. You know, I'm a Kelley Jones fan. Wein, very great combo. Wein, I believe, was co-creator of Wolverine, and he is also co-creator of SwampThing. So that was great. So I just stumbled this on by accident, and because I was looking for Kelley Jones's books, because I'm getting more and more into his work. By the way, so this is a 192 page trade paperback, and so 4 floppies. I couldn't get the floppies, so trade paperback it is. And what a blast it was. I loved every second of it. I mean, I loved how it's been written. It's been written in, medieval times, when back in the days, no modern words in here, nothing. And we begin here in Memphia. So Memphia is a capital of Stygia, and long time ago, and we're getting introduced to, I'm not going to show you everything because it's 200 pages, but a lot. So we have here young Thoth, who is a beggar, and but he is also a liar. He's pretends that he's crippled, but then he needs to bring back money to his dad, who drinks all the money away in taverns while he is basically begging for his life. And right. But then at one point, he also, saves a lot, saves money. And at one point, he wants to escape the city. And, he's getting his regular daily beating from his dad. Even his sister's getting a beating because he's tried to, help her brother. Thoth is angry. He's an angry young man. And he's torturing animals. But then he also has a friend. Well, sort of. And his friend is called Amon. And Amon is basically his other side. Well, they all look like each other, by the way, but they are not brothers or something. But he is more like the positive. If you are working hard and good fortune will come, and the gods will smile upon them. And so the city is gods is Ibis, because it's back in the day, there's a lot of towns and cities that worship certain gods. So in this particular Memphis, in the city or capital, is Ibis is the ruling god. But Thoth doesn't want to be a beggar for all his life, and he wants to have the opportunity, and he do whatever it takes. So and then. Carantus, high priest of Ibis, is coming through the streets, and we see Amon, who has never seen it before because, well, he's a beggar. This is a big deal for him. But then assassins try to come kill Carantus, right? Because they're not for Ibis, right? I don't know. It's just Ibis must die, and they're getting their asses kicked. And then young Amon is now basically rewarded, and Amon says, "Hey, I want to be a, how do you say, an acolyte?" So he gets the chance to, work for, the temple. But Thoth here is, wants to check on his wealth, quote unquote wealth, and other people found it, and he's, getting mad, and he's getting his ass kicked and all that stuff. But then Amon comes and he says, "Hey, I got a great opportunity. I'm going to be an acolyte. You see, there's always hope." And but Thoth says, "Well, hey, you're a fool." He says it's only a matter of time because before they wipe his face off their memory. But then he asked, "Did they get a good look at you?" And he says, "Well, no, because we're all beggars and they all look like each other, right?" Yeah, okay. So he kills Amon, right? And then he goes the next day to, after he gives the ring to his sister, and he says, "I'm coming back for you." There's some things like that. And then, he's becoming now the priest, an acolyte of Ibis. But he's also getting bullied there, you know, because these are also people that found on the streets and they are think them better than him. But then he is, you know, found a friend in Calanthus, who is the son of Caranthus, right? And, you know, he's getting smarter, he's learning, he's become a scholar. But then one time, Calanthus is reading some kind of a scroll, and Amon wants, or Thoth, you know, although he says he's Amon, wants to know what it is. And he's looking at this chest. And then, of course, Thoth is who Thoth is. He says, if there's something I don't, you know, somebody doesn't need me to know, I want to know. And then he is reading the page of mighty Acheron. Now, and then he realizes that, you know, Acheron has possessed powers. Now, Acheron is a capital, I believe. No, is it a capital? Wait a minute. Is it? No. What is it? I believe it's. God, let me think. I just had it at the tip of my tongue. An empire, right? Some kind of a kingdom that was a couple of thousand years before Conan. And and Acheron was, you know, a land, or, you know, a place of power. So of course he wants to have it, because, you know, he's angry, still bitter, you know, wants revenge. And then he's seeking clues, and he's meeting this guy in a bar, and he says, hey, I want to know more about Acheron, right? And its glories. So, and then he sees in the past what happens, and you know, rituals, killings, maimings, and they believed in the god Set. Now, Thoth here, gone crazy with power and lust, and you know, thinks, hey, I want this power. So this guy says, okay, I waited for you when, well, you know, he's dead. He wants to restore the glory of ancient Acheron, right? And then from that point on, he's killing people that has connections to Acheron, you know, like part of the puzzle on the skin. So he goes into the temple of Acheron. He's getting rejected by all these demons here. Also snakes around him. And then, I don't know, maybe because he's being, you know, bitten. He has some power of Set in him a little bit. You know, he's commanding snakes, and then he is falling. All these snakes are biting him, and he's on the verge of dying. And then he sees a ring. And then we go to the next chapter. So this guy is also an acolyte. He is being followed by snakes. And, well, he is the one that bullied Thoth. And, well, look at this. Isn't this great? I mean, look, the art is fantastic. Leon, let's do a review, right? Let's do it. So this is what happens to people. And there is more and more strange killings, more acolytes disappearing. And Thoth says, yeah, we need to be careful, right? So he's using his sly wits as a beggar. And so he also asks Calanthus about, you know, what's going on. And Calanthus said, well, we need to have faith in Ibis and all that stuff, right? But then they meet a young man that has trouble, you know, paying for a fruit. And so Calanthus says, well, this is Stefan, 18 in the line of succession of the Stygian throne. And so he takes it under the wings and becomes also a new acolyte. But, you know, Thoth sees opportunity because he's, you know, in line of a Stygian throne. So, and he also doing some killings and rituals for the great Set, gaining more and more power, right? And then Set comes before him, granting probably more power. Also manipulating Stefan, right, to become a king, right, because that has its advantages. But, you know, Calanthus knows that is something wrong. But then Caranthus find out that his pupil is turned into a scion or a worshipper of Set, and the worshippers of Set, that is not spoken out loud, right? That's to the death, basically. If people say that, you will be put to death. But then there's a battle between good and evil, you know, Ibis against Set, and it looks fantastic, by the way. Look at this. But then in the end, Caranthus is losing, and he's being manipulated, and he is, you know, being now bring forth to this I don't know, circle of, how do you say, council. And Thoth says, I come with heavy heart. I must name great Caranthus as a traitor. And he says that he is now worshipping Set. Now the other way around. And says, well, that's not true, but he cannot say anything, right? And then Thoth uses his powers to, manipulate him and saying, well, yeah, I denounce Ibis. And then but then Caranthus says, well, no, this is my dad. He cannot be doing anything like that, right? And then he's getting punished by, magic, and he's still alive. And the priest says, well, we're not going to take his life, but we're going to take his mind. He's now a simpleton, and he is now being thrown on the streets as a beggar. But then Thoth comes in and says, no, I will take him under my wing, right? He did so much for me. He's a snake tongue. And he says, I will take care of it. And so, yeah. And then slowly he is, going up in the ranks and becoming all these guys are dying. And he's gaining more and more power, right? But there's also a voice speaking to him, and he does not know who that voice is. And he says, and the voice is a little bit defying them, right? And he's speaking into the mirror. So yeah, it's great. And he says, are you happy? And he says, of course I'm happy. But then he realizes he is not happy. He says, it isn't enough. So he wants more and more and more. He wants more power. But meanwhile, there's also other, armies and factions and cities waging war. Now this looks a little bit weird. So is this guy on a horse, or he's just on the side? He doesn't look like he's on the horse, right? Is he running next to the horse? I don't get it. Anyway, so saving the people, and Thoth is getting older, and he decides to make more war for reasons, and manipulating Stefan. So he brings basically the city of into chaos, because he wants to have Set as the sole savior instead of Ibis. So because of there's war, people starting to distrust the whole religious system now, because they think Ibis cannot protect them. Not only that, it seems that family members of Stefan are getting killed because he's the 16th in line, and every time one members are getting killed, he's getting closer and closer to the throne. Which he looks like Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, by the way, without the beard. And so yeah, more manipulations, more people getting killed and removed. Even Stefan's father is being swallowed by the earth. More war, and the city is on brink of collapsing. And now, because Stefan is now being manipulated, and Caranthus wants to have the head of Thoth-amon, because that's how he calls himself now. He is now high priest, and so he removes all the older priests, and Stefan is now saying, hey, you're now the high priest, and you have now the same power as I am, and he's calling himself now Thoth-amon. So Caranthus says, hey, I have a suspicion that Amon, or Thoth, is behind this, but his father cannot save him because he's brain dead. And he says, hey, give me a sign. Is he behind this? And then he's crying, confirming that Thoth is all behind this, right? And as you can see, he is using his set powers to manipulating more of Stefan. And because he says, we need to wage war more. So people is distrusting each other, and they are, there's followers of Set, there's followers of Ibis. And he says, I think we need to change in the city. And as the God is not strong enough to protect his people, should he not be replaced? So Caranthus said, well, that's blasphemy. No, old friend, it's the will of the people. So he decided to kill Thoth-amon, and he's doing a coup. Is that how you see it? Coup d'etat. but then Thoth is prepared and he's dealing with these followers of Ibis, and but then he's getting in contact with Caranthus, but he didn't know at the time that it's Caranthus, but he says, yeah, I know who you are. And then they also have a fight, and it looks spectacular. It's really great. And Kelley Jones is lighting is fantastic. Caranthus escapes, right? And he says, now, because people tried to kill me, Thoth says, and now those are what the followers of Ibis. And now he says, well, now it's forbidden to talk about Ibis, and we're gonna renounce those gods. And now the only god in the city is now set, right? Anyway, so, and they also change, removing statues, and it's becoming, well, this more and more like Acheron, but not only. So yeah, and he's doing some duplicity, some strategy about other, how do you say, he's conniving some kind of he's destroying a city and blame it on other cities as well and other factions, and he's gaining more and more and more power. And also, wait a minute, this guy is from the past, right? So he is saying, well, you took 18 piastres from me, but he didn't know that this is Thoth, right? So you can have your life if you get me 18 piastres. And so probably realizing that that is Thoth. And so he says, well, no, I have only 17, right? And I come back with the 18. But then Thoth says, no, take away, have his eyes burned from his skull, and let him rot in the dungeons for the rest of his miserable life. Look at this crazy look. I love that. And then he realizes that he found the ring because this guy had it on him, and the oath that he made to his sister. So he's, ordering this guy to find his sister and bring him safe. But we never see that. We never see the conclusion if she is alive, right? Or she's married. Nothing. So that's a little bit probably the downside. Look, it's great. And now it's time to, show the people the power of Acheron, right? Meanwhile, somewhere in the sands, these, Caranthus and his rebel friends are trying to do the coup d'etat, killing again, and you go back to Stygia and killing Thoth-amon, but then they being invaded by Set's followers, followers of Thoth. Let's leave it at that, right? And so they're losing because they are way too outnumbered, and so Caranthus going back, and he says. Thoth-amon says, well, we were friends once, and you have betrayed the city, you betrayed our faith, right? So what am I going to do with you? Should I kill you, or maybe, give you mercy, right? But then Caranthus defies him, and he pointing out all of the things that he done, and plunging this city into darkness, and, be responsible for the killings and deaths of thousands of people, right? And says, well, I'm not going to do the judging. That falls onto another. So he is, going to Stefan, and Stefan says, I know, but we're gonna, instead of killing him, we're gonna banish him. Well, that's a good idea. But Thoth says, well, no, he's betraying. He needs to be killed. No, this is all final. I'm king. You do as I say. But then Stefan is being put into some kind of a trap, and he's now gone because, he opened this box and it's full with, magic. And as you can see, he is now in thrall of Thoth-amon, and he's being crucified. Poor guy. Meanwhile, the voice is still there, and he says, who are you? What do you want from me? But we are not seeing that for now. So, and then there's some ritual, because now is the time to get the power of Acheron, right? And so he's doing this, and he's killing the woman, but nothing happens. He did all the rituals, nothing happens. What happens? Well, and then he says, where's the power that was promised me? Where is the glory of ancient Acheron? Look about thee, faithful priest, and all will stand revealed to thee. So I thought, okay, who is this then? Is this Set? No, it's not Set. It's none other than our old friend. Well, you know him as Xaltoton of Python, who is the first priest in ancient Acheron. He's a high priest of the city. Now I thought, wow, this is a cool reveal, because I did the Sumerian. That's how the book is called, From a Blaze. I did a couple of reviews about that, the whole series from that point. And Xaltoton of Python was an enemy of Conan, right? So that was great. And you can, before I forget, Thoth-amon is the ancient enemy of Conan. I totally forgot to tell you about that. So you thought, hey, who's this guy, right? Is he a good guy? No, he is he's an evil sorceress, just like Xaltoton. And he has battled Conan a lot, right? They're a nemesis. I forgot to tell you about it. That was stupid of me. Anyway, so this is Xaltoton, right? And he says, I need power, woman. I must wield the glorious power of Acheron. We'll build its empire here on Earth with myself at its head. But then it turns into a snake-like creature. She says, well, you are not going to possess the power of Acheron, but will know its touch. So he's, being mesmerized by the power that's filling him. And he says, what's happening to me? He says, do not struggle, my child. Let Xaltoton possess thee. Vessel, because it's, she's going to be a vessel. He says, no, I don't want to be a vessel. I want to be its master. So he sees a vision of what's going to happen in the future. All these, a new city with Xaltoton at head, as, with hundreds of people being enslaved and killed, and, rituals and blood and all that stuff. And then he defies Xaltoton. He says, I will be the master. And Xaltoton says, no, you are just an opener, a gateway, right? And then they have, she's attacking her, but then she's biting in the blood of the Black Ring of Set, which confuses me a little bit, because I thought Acheron and Xaltoton was followers of Set, probably, but maybe they are vulnerable to its power. Not entirely sure, but she wants to have the ring, but then Thoth-amon just throws this dagger and she's dead, but not. She said, you have lost. But because he claims he's winning. He says, the gateway lies open and Acheron will take you world. You could have known power unending, but if you refuse Xaltoton, you will die as just another slave. So the power is opened, and this cloud comes with the power of Acheron, and people are being transformed into, half snakes or snake-like creatures. And then we go back to one of these warriors that is, battling the forces of, Thoth-amon, and they want to go away, but then they found Calanthus here. But Calanthus says, I need to go back and save the people of Memphia, right? So Thoth-amon now realizes that the ring is now his source of power, and but the longer the gateway is open, the more power Xaltoton of Python gets. So he uses his own power to defy Xaltoton, right? But then it seems that Xaltoton is a force to be reckoned with. And he says, I've been a slave. I'm Thoth-amon, I will rule. But he's too weak. But then Calanthus comes, and he is protecting him with this power of Ibis. And not that because he wants to, help his friends, but, he wants to help the people, right? So he is adding his power to his own. The forces of good battles the forces of evil, right? And so Calanthus says, well, now use the respite we gained, you priest of lies. Use it swiftly. Close the gateway of power before it's too late, and send what you summon straight back to hell. But Thoth-amon says, what, are you crazy? No, I will get the power because I, long for it, right? So, and then the power of, Xaltoton of Python wants to, needed a vessel, a strong vessel, but he uses this vessel to, become this, and he's seeking now Thoth-amon, the woman. So more battle, right? And but then Zaltatan refuses to give up. And so Karanta says, men and women are sacrificed as alive to give us a chance to stop this man of Thoth. Do not let them die in vain. Curse your sanctimonious preaching fool. Even now I fight Zaltatan, but his spirit is strong. It resists me. I batter him with everything I have, but he will not buckle, will not bow. Not unlike you, huh? So he's using the power of Ibis to weaken, Zaltatan, and but it's not enough. So he is done for, he is spent. But then, instead of, battling him more, although he cannot win, Thoth-amon refuses to bow to Zaltatan of Python. He says, I will not be humbled, not by man or God. I survive this cursed city goddess. I survive my father's countless beating. I survive everything this loathsome lies have thrown at me and flourished. I conquered even death itself. Hear me, Zaltatan, I deny you. I refuse your power. To claim this world, you must come through me, and that I will not allow. Back, Acheron, I cast you out. Back to the dark and dusty hell where you have slept so many millennia. Back, I command you. You are not welcome here. And thus closes the portal, and the power goes away. And now they standing here not knowing really what to do. He says, what about me now, huh? Are you going to bring me back to the cursed tree? So, and then this voice is talking to him again, and then Calanthus smacks him in his face, and he says, I'm gonna leave the city and leave you to it, and I'm gonna bring my father with me. And that is that's how Thoth-amon has been stayed behind, powerless, sort of, right? Now, wait a minute. I totally forgot about this page. So it's not really over. Now, I must say, I didn't read this page at all, so I don't know how it ends. But, Thoth-amon, he's not right out his resources. He still has power. He still, is wants to plan stuff, right? So he's going to continue hunting Conan and other people. Well, who is this voice? Well, it's none other than Amon, who is now basically in the afterlife and reading this chronicles of Zaltatan, not Zaltatan, but Thoth-amon. He's writing the book of Thoth-amon, and that brings us to a close. All right, that's a big pill. I wanted to do an overview, but I'm having so much fun with this book. I need to get this as well because P. Craig Russell. Great stuff. Definitely worth a buy in my opinion. So if you like, villains, cool, brutal villains, and more about the lore of Conan, and of course, Busiek, Wein, Kelley Jones, great combo. Definitely worth a buy. I had a blast. I hope you have a great time too. Although maybe I was a little bit jumping through some, I just said, cunning. I'm flipping through the book a little bit quicker. Maybe I should have explained it a little bit better, but we are almost a half hour in. I hope you have a great time. Leave a comment below. See you next time. Bye-bye.